First, I have to admit how incredibly ignorant I felt last Saturday at class. I crawl asking a question along the lines of what if I don't have any special needs kids in my class? What was I thinking? I may not have a student with Down syndrome, or one who is legally blind, or another who has Asperger's, but I certainly have students with special needs. And actually, I do have a student with Asperger's, but he mainstreams so beautifully that you wouldn't know it if the information were not in his file. I want to revert back to my experience at my previous school because I think it's important to understand where I've been and where I am now. And the experiences thus far have been very different. My prior school had an enrollment of about 300 students. While I taught there, I recall no student needing additional services, with the exception of those that were tutored for dyslexia-related issues. Most of those students had a tutor on campus for between 30 and 45 minutes per week to assist them in acquiring learning strategies to assist them with their reading, for the most part. I would not label this school as being inclusive. I think that in order to be that, there has to be buy-in from the pastor, the administration, the faculty, and certainly from the parents. HFS did not have that. Over the years, the pastoral involvement in the school dwindled to the point of being non-existent. If a teacher had a child with the slightest learning or behavioral issue over and above the scope of what they were capable of handling, the complaining began and never really subsided. Very few of my colleagues were willing to spend the extra time needed to assist these children. That's one of the reasons I chose to move on. American Martyrs has what I think is a remarkable inclusion program for a Catholic school. The philosophy at American Martyrs speaks to our Catholic faith and what it teaches us as individuals. An administrator in American Martyrs said, "Teaching is an inclusive environment is characterized at American Martyrs by differentiated instruction and teaching to the various learning styles of each student. It has touched the spiritual and academic development of every student at our school." Currently, American Martyrs has approximately 80 students in our STEP program. Of those, 2 are developmentally delayed, 1 is legally blind, 2 have Down syndrome, 10 are autistic, 40 have learning differences, and others are on the Asperger's spectrum. The 2 Down syndrome students have one-on-one aids, while others receive assistance from our inclusion counselor and our guidance counselor, both of whom are on campus at least 4 days a week. As I write this, I feel very thankful to be a teacher in an environment such as this. The approach we take to our children who need our help is simple. Revise lessons and instructional delivery to meet the needs of each child in the classroom. As educators, our goal is to have all students experience measurable growth over each school year. The growth must be regardless of whether a student is a high-performing student or a student who needs additional assistance with key concepts. That is why we stress to our parents that every child at American Martyrs is part of the inclusion program. Thank you.
And then I'll just cut it because right here, like right when he finished,